I'm kind of struggling with this Draymond Green thing, and I want to give my take on what I really see with this. I'm struggling because of the narrative that he needs help. Like there's this whole thing around him needing help right now, and literally part of the condition of him coming back from his indefinite suspension from the Warriors is that he needs to go to counseling. I don't know what kind of counseling we're talking about, but counseling is part of the condition of his return. I'm assuming it has something to do with emotional counseling. I think that's what this all really comes down to, is like the emotional aspect, dealing with your emotions, how you react to things. But my take is also this. What I'm uncomfortable with is acting like Draymond Green, like there's something wrong with him. So part of what's hard about this is because Kevin Durant himself, who was part of this because he played with the Warriors, he got into that incident argument, with Draymond Green, and people point to that as the sole reason why KD ended up leaving the Warriors.
Draymond is actually my friend. Like, it's somebody I can call when I'm going through anything. Like, yo, bro,
great dude.
Come through. Like,
great
damn,
dude.
Bro, let's hang out tonight. Like, and for him to say that type of shit to me, it just threw me for a loop. And it just really, I just started isolating myself after that.
Kevin Durant was also on the team, the Phoenix Suns, that Draymond had his latest incident with, that led to the indefinite suspension. Again, the whole thing against Nurkic. Now, the Nurkic thing, I do think, obviously you have the history of incidents with Draymond Green, with his own team, the punch on Jordan Poole, and on the court against other people. The Kevin Durant thing didn't get physical, but that was a heated argument, public argument, verbal, thing with a teammate. So there's a history of like behavior that's unacceptable, and that, so the history of it was obviously part of what also led to the indefinite suspension. But I do think you have to, like, each incident from for the time he kicked LeBron in the finals game and got suspended a game, like some of these incidents with Draymond are just bad, like, body awareness. I don't know if there's counseling out there for like, just basketball etiquette, but that's more of what I see this as with Draymond Green, is like poor basketball etiquette. Part of the game of basketball, for anyone who plays and knows, like, there are cheap shots, there's flopping. We all know about the flopping culture and stuff going on. People just, and the culture of selling stuff. Like, you sell things in basketball. So part of Draymond's like basketball problem is that he sells things. He oversells. You play against players that they sell, they look to take charges, or they just exaggerate things, obviously, to try to get a call. That's part of the game. But Draymond takes it to another level, and that's the theme with Draymond, is that he takes things to another level. His reaction goes to another level, right? Like, an argument becomes a punch to the face, and things just go to another level, and that includes what he does, like, with his body, how he reacts with his body. I don't know what the term is for this, if there is a term, or I tend to think of it as just like spatial awareness, which is what I talk about with just players and spacing in basketball a lot in general. Just having a sense of like what's around you. So like, I do think a lot of the incidents with Draymond, you kind of have to look at them as their own thing. There are different kind of examples of things that he's done, again, in game, whatever the case, like with a teammate. But, for the most part, it's Draymond having poor body and spatial awareness, like with the Nurkic thing, for example. Like, and even hearing Draymond talk about it after the game, like how he explained it was like, he even said, I'm paraphrasing, but he said something like, I was trying to sell and get him off me. I think he just said he was trying to get him off him, because Nurkic kind of just had his hand on his back, essentially. And again, this is part of basketball where, I mean, you can, but my thing is like, there are many ways to get a hand off you. Even if you just go like that, you can just swipe somebody's hand off you and that'll be that. I mean, you know, the ref might say, hey, cut it out or whatever. They may not. Like, that happens all the time. Just, you know, get off me like this. The fact that Draymond, and it's not like Nurkic was hugging him or doing anything crazy. It was really just like a hand on his back that he felt, that he was said he just wanted to get him off him. So the fact that Draymond, like, why are you spinning around? Why, like what is that about? Like, why does your body even end up facing him? You don't even have to look at him. All you have to do is go like this. Just swipe his hand off you like that. But you want to be extra. You want to take it to the next level and do something like that. Even with the Rudy Gobert thing, which is crazy because he just came back off the suspension from that. You know, he's fresh off of that. I saw that as an enforcer who is going to do, like, he's going at his teammate. To me, I wasn't that surprised by Draymond like going at him, but he took it. I mean, he held him for like almost 10 seconds, maybe more. Like he took it to the next level. So that's really the theme, is like, for one, just, I think it's just the basketball etiquette. Now, Draymond is a competitor. He is an enforcer. Like, there are certain players who just get off on like physical play, trash talk. Like, once we get going, it's like, that's just how he gets going. So I do think when Draymond sees certain opportunities to kind of take a cheap shot without maybe looking like it's a real cheap shot, like, he's not like full on swinging, you know, most of the time, unless it's Jordan Poole in practice. But I'm mostly talking about in-game examples where his leg kicks out, or, you know, he I mean, the chokehold on Gobert, that was very deliberate and intentional. But I feel like again, it really boils down to emotions, like just emotional management and how you respond to things. And it is basketball etiquette, in my opinion. Like, this isn't one of those sports where that's going to continue to be accepted and tolerated. Like, you do have to, I mean, there's a certain etiquette with every sport, but with basketball, like, you can't, I mean, certain things you shouldn't be doing on a regular basis. But I still don't think, like, based on things we're seeing, like, I just see Draymond. Sometimes I think he's clumsy. Sometimes I think he's just he's just trying to do something like kind of slick and try to get away with it, and then it backfires because it's just too close, and he ends up connecting, and it just ends up not how he thinks it was gonna end up. Like, I think he tries for like inadvertent stuff that ends up connecting, and it ends up just looking a lot worse than what he thought it was gonna be. So I think that's a component to it. The craziest thing about the Draymond Green thing that I do want to point out, I haven't seen anyone else point this out yet. Did anyone else notice about a year ago this special that Draymond was doing with Deepak Chopra called The Sessions? I never watched it. I wanted to watch it. I never checked it out, but I think it was on Amazon Prime. It might still be on there. It's called The Sessions. Draymond Green with Deepak Chopra and mindfulness experts, and talking about finding his inner peace, and like, this was like a year ago. So I don't know whose idea that was. If it was Draymond's idea, if it came from the Warriors, if it like, there wasn't much, like, it wasn't like a league thing. It was, again, it might have just been Draymond doing it might have just been his idea or something like that. But there was this whole thing, this whole special around Draymond finding inner peace, and there's a trailer. I remember the trailer for it. I never got to watch the special, but I'm like, now I'm looking back at that, like, wait, wasn't there supposed to be this like effort? Because I noticed it. I practice mindfulness and stuff, so I was into it. I'm like, okay, this is gonna be dope. They show Draymond on there meditating and stuff. So now I'm like, what were we doing? Did that work? It reminds me of the Ja Morant situation when he had his little slap on the wrist suspension at first for the gun thing. Like, they talk about he was doing Reiki therapy and stuff, you know, it was like a week, and then he was back. It's like, oh, it just that quick, you know, you got it, that you just got it like that. So I don't know what happened with the Draymond mindfulness whole finding peace special. Like, if that didn't work, if if we didn't stay consistent, if we didn't stay on top of that. But I didn't see anyone. I haven't seen anyone talking about that. I haven't seen anyone mention that in this whole thing, because that was supposed to be a whole thing of Draymond finding balance and stuff. I don't know. That's one of the first things I thought of. I kept thinking about it as things kept happening. I'm like, man, didn't Draymond do that special with Deepak Chopra last year, and this whole thing sitting by the water and meditating, closing his eyes, saying he can feel the shift and find out. Listen, it's a journey. Trust, like I said, I practice this stuff, so it's not, I'm like a few years in, and I still feel like a rookie, So I mean, it's definitely a journey, and you can obviously slip up. It doesn't make you a perfect human being, but I wondered if are we going back to Deepak for sessions or something? Like what is that counseling going to look like? I'm sure it has mostly to do with just emotional management. Like people have thrown out there, people have said like maybe he's going through something is going on. Like Nurkic himself said, he needs help. Durant was like, I hope he gets the help he needs. I'm like, man, are we really going there with that language? Like, is that like, I know how it looks. I know it looks like things just keep happening, but if you look at each incident, it's like, it's usually him defending a teammate or being an enforcer or just kind of being a basketball player who likes to take some cheap shots and try to get away with things. Like it's kind of stuff he does is kind of usually, I don't want to say part of the game, but it's like the game gets chippy and stuff. And he gets off on that stuff. So it's like, to me, again, I look back at basketball etiquette, like being able to deal with like those basketball things when someone's hand is on your back and how you can respond to that as opposed to not. So it may be looped into a larger thing of like emotional management and counseling, but I do see because people want to make this a society thing. Like he's got an issue, like he's got a problem, big picture, like he's got an anger issue. I lean towards like basketball problem. I think we're looking at even more of just like basketball, but they go hand in hand, obviously, as we know. It's basketball society. That is what this is, right? But seriously, that connection is real. Like to think about the Draymond thing as like he's got a problem, that becomes more of a society thing where it's like, well, what's the problem? Does he need real help? Like what's the, you do more of a deep dive into like what his issues are. And I mean, I don't know if that's fully necessary. I'm swaying more towards basketball where it's like etiquette, how you respond, the why you're responding that way goes into like the emotions and the counseling. But, some of it is just like, dude, think like the smart basketball player that you already are. But when certain situations happen, it's like all that high IQ and basketball smarts and genius that Draymond Green has, it's like, they just go out the window. So it's a little troubling, a little confusing, but I want to make sure, like, I wanted to give my take. Like, I don't know how much of a problem Draymond Green has, but he definitely just needs to improve on his basketball etiquette at the very least.